It was raining that morning in Manhattan, the kind that soaked your socks in patience. Daniel Reed, dressed in a tailored suit and clutching his briefcase, had a meeting on Wall Street. As a tech CEO worth millions, punctuality was a part of his DNA. But just as he flagged down a rare available taxi, he noticed her. A woman with tired eyes, holding a newborn baby close to her chest, her diaper bag slipping off her shoulder. She was struggling, soaked, and desperate. He didn't think twice. "Take it," he said, stepping back and motioning her into the cab. The woman hesitated. "Are you sure?" "I insist." She slid in with a grateful smile and vanished into traffic. Daniel missed his meeting but didn't regret it. Life moved on, or so he thought. What Daniel didn't know was that the woman, Elena Carter, was no ordinary mother. She was a reclusive millionaire who had inherited her family's fortune, but kept her identity hidden from the public eye. That day, she'd been discharged early from the hospital after a complicated birth, trying to make it home alone. His selfless gesture lingered in her memory. Weeks later, Daniel received a letter. Inside was a handwritten note. "You helped me when I had nothing to give. Let me return the kindness." Along with it, shares in a startup he hadn't heard of, now worth millions. Daniel never expected anything, but Elena never forgot him. That rainy morning changed both their lives forever. Benjamin Cole had it all: wealth, power, and a name that echoed in corporate circles. CEO of a thriving real estate empire, he moved through life with purpose and precision. But behind the luxury cars and penthouse views, Benjamin felt hollow. Everything he did was transactional. Nothing ever surprised him anymore. Until one gray Monday morning. Running late to a meeting, Benjamin stood at a busy street corner in downtown Chicago, impatiently waving for a cab. Just as one pulled up, a frazzled young woman darted toward it, clutching a crying newborn in one arm and a diaper bag in the other. Their eyes met. She was soaked, anxious, and clearly overwhelmed. Without a word, Benjamin stepped back and nodded toward the cab. "You take it." The woman blinked in disbelief. "Are you sure? You look like you were in a rush." "I'll manage," he said with a rare smile. She climbed in, whispering a breathless "thank you" before the door shut. That should have been the end of it. But days later, Benjamin received a handwritten note delivered to his office. It read, "Your kindness meant more than you know. I was at my lowest, and you didn't hesitate. Thank you for reminding me that good still exists." There was no name, no return address, just that message. For the first time in years, Benjamin sat still and thought, not about mergers or profits, but about people. That single act of compassion, so small in the moment, shook something loose inside him. He began funding shelters, showing up at hospitals, donating not just money, but time. All because one stranger reminded him of the power of grace. He had changed her day. She changed his life. Mark Jennings wasn't used to being late. A junior architect hustling to make partner, he lived by schedules, calendars, and precision. That morning, the city was a blur of rain, honking horns, and soggy ambition. He spotted a cab pulling over and rushed toward it until he saw her. She was standing near the curb, soaked through her thin coat, one hand cradling a newborn, the other clutching a half-zipped diaper bag. Her eyes met his, wide, panicked, tired. Mark paused. "You go ahead," he said, stepping aside. The woman looked stunned. "Are you sure?" He nodded. "You've got more important cargo." She smiled, eyes brimming with gratitude. "Thank you." The cab pulled away, leaving Mark in the rain. He missed his meeting and possibly a promotion, but couldn't shake the feeling that he'd done the right thing. 2 weeks passed. One morning, a receptionist handed him a sleek white envelope. Inside was a letter. "You gave me more than a taxi, you gave me hope on the hardest day of my life. I've built businesses, traveled the world, but that morning I was just a mom, terrified and alone. You saw me, and I won't forget it. Elena Carter." Attached was a check large enough to pay off his student loans and a note offering a job designing her nonprofit's new community housing centers. Mark's jaw dropped. He had no idea she was Elena Carter, philanthropist, investor, and one of the city's most influential women. One small act of kindness had come full circle. He gave her a cab. She gave him a future. It had been one of those mornings, cold, chaotic, and behind schedule. Jake Thompson, a middle-aged barista with a worn-out jacket and dreams long put on hold, had just finished the early shift at the café. As he walked out, he noticed a young woman struggling to open the door to the shop, a baby carrier in one hand, a diaper bag in the other. Without thinking, Jake held the door and even offered to carry her bag to a nearby table. She looked exhausted, like someone who hadn't slept in days. "Thank you," she whispered, barely meeting his eyes. "It's been a rough morning." Jake smiled gently. "Hang in there. You're doing better than you think." He paid for her coffee quietly and left before she could say more. What he didn't know was that the woman, Lily, had once been the CEO of a successful tech company. She'd walked away from everything after her fiancé passed, leaving her alone and pregnant. She was wealthy but rarely showed it. That day, she wore no makeup, no designer brands, just fatigue and fear. Jake's quiet kindness stuck with her. A week later, Jake received an envelope at the café. Inside was a handwritten note. "You reminded me that kindness still exists. Please accept this. Not as charity, but as gratitude." Tucked inside was a check for $50,000 and a note offering to help him open the coffee shop he'd always dreamed of. Jake stood frozen, stunned by a gift he never asked for. From a woman he barely knew. He gave her a coffee and a kind word. She gave him a second chance.